call the discourse that has changed. And for example here, right, the idea of sexuality and the idea also of illnesses is a quite interesting example, because these are often things, right, that for a long time would be talked about from a very strictly objective or scientific perspective, right? So for example, there's an institution that defines what is a mental illness, right? And then people who study medicine will learn this knowledge in these institutions, or universities and so on, that use these definitions. And as such, right, these definitions will be used to classify someone as mentally ill or not mentally ill. Now, at the same time, however, right, we could observe that some of these definitions have changed over time. Maybe certain illnesses that would be regarded as being a mental illness in the past are not classified as that anymore. And here's also like a very important element, right, which enters the discussion. Homosexuality. Homosexuality up until the 1970s was classified by APA, the American Psychological Association, which you probably know mostly from academic citations, right? If we talk about, oh, you should use APA reference style, then this means the reference style that has been invented by the American Psychological Association. They defined homosexuality as a mental illness up until the 1970s. Now, of course, right, from our modern and contemporary perspective, that would be blatantly wrong, but it re-emphasizes the point, right, that certain so-called scientific truths out there are not stable. And actually, with a lot of the knowledge, right, that you are learning nowadays, and that doesn't matter if it's natural sciences, right? You know, if you think about how the theory in physics has changed and changes over time, right, about the origin of the universe, then that also means that the kind of discourses and truths would change with this over time. So why this is therefore important, right, to also kind of reflect on his ideas? Because I also want you to keep a critical mind towards a lot of the things that you take for granted, of a lot of the things that you just think this is the way it is, or this is how the world is working. And particularly also, right, being critical about what we would call the knowledge that you are acquiring.